But let's talk now about the NHS, because the number of patients waiting 3 weeks or more to see a GP has surged to 3 million. Patient satisfaction has hit an all-time low. Hard to imagine, isn't it? Dr. Charles Levinson's here. Charles, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
It just gets worse and worse, doesn't it, the news about the NHS? I mean, only a few days ago we found out that the junior doctors are going to go back on strike again at the end of June, just before the election. Now more and more people waiting 3 weeks or more to see a GP.
Yeah, it is. It is appalling. There are some simple things that could be done. So some of it's going to be very different. You know, there are lots of complicated problems in the NHS. But some common sense and efficiency would put quite a lot of it right.
Well, it's always an interesting conversation that I have with you, Charles, because common sense seems to be in very short supply in quite a lot of the big agencies of this country, the big kind of, public sector industries, if you like. They seem to be run incredibly inefficiently.
Yeah, so in the private sector, so Dr. Call is a private sector organisation, and we just wouldn't be in business if we were... If we didn't pay a bit of attention to being efficient. So the really simple things that could be done, which wouldn't cost money, are firstly that bring back family doctors. So there's we have known always that our patients prefer seeing the same doctor and getting to know them, and the Cambridge University study that's just come out has just measured that and has just shown the improvements in patient satisfaction and the reduction in workload, because patients don't need to be seen so often because outcomes are better. They get treated, they get sorted out more efficiently. And of course, you get more doctor satisfaction, that it's not so stressful for the doctors. And then that reduces the problem of doctors refusing to work full time. So we have a waiting list of doctors who want to work for Dr. Call because they are so disillusioned with, or find it so tough working in the NHS.
Right. And one of the problems, of course, for a lot of people, and it doesn't very often get mentioned, is that there's a lot more people in this country now. So, there's more pressure on GP surgeries. I've heard of some GP surgeries where they've just cut off the list and said, look, we can't take any more patients on because we simply can't handle the ones that we've got already. I mean, is there an answer to build more GP surgeries or to create more GP surgeries? Because what I am seeing, certainly in London a lot, is a lot of sort of, private walk-in centres being started up because people obviously need them. People are willing now to pay to see a GP because they can't afford not to.
Well, yeah, there is a need for more GPs, but of course we need to stem the loss of GPs. They leave the country, they go and work in Australia, they refuse to work full time just because of the pressures of the job. And another very simple thing that could be done is GPs are now taught to practice flowchart medicine. So not to look at the whole patient, but to deal with the particular problem only that the patient has come with, and to follow a flowchart and have a quick, consistent response. And what that leads to is that if you're going to follow a flowchart, you don't need a doctor. A computer can do that. So one of the things we have learned over the years is that you need to trust your patients and give them a choice, and they are sensible almost all of the time. And if you were logged into your computer to try and book a GP appointment, and it said you have to wait a certain amount of time to see your GP, or you could do a computer questionnaire right now, and your prescription could be on your phone in 10 minutes time. Yeah. And you could take it to the pharmacy and collect your antibiotics. Then a lot of people who are busy and who don't need to talk to someone would do that, and that would take a huge amount of pressure off. And if your alternative was to see your GP, your doctor, who you know and who knows you, then that would be much better too.
Yeah, absolutely right. Dr. Charles Levinson from the Dr. Call organisation. Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Chief Executive of Dr. Call there. You've probably been waiting for a GP's appointment. Apparently, according to the statistics, NHS say 30.4 million appointments took place in England last month alone, but 3.2 million were booked almost a month earlier, so that's 1 in every 10. 400,000 appointments apparently waiting over 22 days in just 1 month. It is a dire crisis crisis. We'd love to hear your stories about all of that, of course.